And you're looking at a live view of the Orion spacecraft. The large engine that module is the orbital maneuvering system engine. This was built by Aerojet Rocketdyne for the translunar injection burn. Again, that 5-minute, 50-second burn, sending Orion on its way to the moon. This is a reprint in space before. On several missions, including STS And just continue with the times that this orbital maneuvering system engine has flown on Space Shuttle Atlantis. That is STS-101, STS-98, STS-104, STS-108, STS-109, and STS-110. live coverage of NASA's first crewed flight test to the moon aboard the Orion spacecraft. Orion now 31 on Earth following launch. This view of the
And while we're waiting for that to happen, Jeremy, the answer on this toilet maintenance is that we're already good as soon as we're done with this flight director conference. Thank you.
And we're just going to have Jeremy get going on the toilet maintenance now.
Okay, copy that. Sounds good.
communications from the ground up to the crew aboard the Orion spacecraft, namely NASA astronaut Victor Glenn, medical conference to check in and see how they're feeling. Everything continuing to go smoothly now, 1 day, 4 hours, and 55 minutes into this historic test flight of NASA's Orion spacecraft. This is Artemis Mission Control, and we're continuing to bring you live coverage of historic crewed test flight of Artemis II and the Orion spacecraft named Integrity, humanity's return to the moon for the first time in over 50 years. Space Launch System rocket from the Kennedy Space Center, Wiseman, Victor Glover, and Christina Cook, as well as Canadian Space Agency astronaut Jeremy Hansen, separated from the SLS, remaining inside Orion and still attached to the upper stage of the rocket. The interim crashed twice to ensure the spacecraft systems were working as expected, while still close to home, and demonstrated new capabilities, including manually piloting. Today, the orbital maneuvering system engine, the large engine you see on your screen there, fired for 5 minutes and 50 seconds. are located on the bottom of the service module in 4 sets of 2. And each engine provides about 100 pounds of thrust. But again, that larger engine, the orbital maneuvering system engine, the translunar injection, 5 minutes and 50 seconds long, that burn, sending Orion and its crew on a round trip path to
Imagery Houston for exercise.
Go ahead, Mark.
Yeah, this time you have a go for exercise. We'd like to remind you to do the AGA readings before you get started, and also ask you to give us the state of charge on the batteries on the accelerometers first.
Go plug PCD into each of those 2 accelerometers. I'm guessing you're talking on the exercise device.
Did you catch that when you did the initial activity? Did you remember seeing that?
I do not remember seeing state of charge.
Okay. No, we don't want you to go to the trouble of plugging in a PCD, so we'll catch it on the next one. So disregard that one.
Okay, sounds good. I do have a flywheel Excel data transfer activity later today. I can try to do it then.
Okay, that'd be great. And Reed, when you do that later, that is only on one accelerometer, and that'll be fine. We'll just take that reading from the one, whichever one you choose. Sounds good.
and those communications to the Orion.
And you're ready. CO2 1.3, O2 19.0, 0.3 PSI, and 73.
Okay, copy. Thanks.
just an integrity question for toilet maintenance.
Go ahead.
Hey, Mark, and notice the lid on the commode when you raise the outer lid, the one that has the quarter turn that keeps it shut. Inside there's another fecal bag is held in. On the bottom ring of that, it appears to be covered in tape or some type of if you know that that's actually supposed to be there. And also, just for your awareness, when you lift the toilet seat up, the cover raises the toilet seat. They're kind of friction fit together, and you have to reach up in there and pull the seat down so that you can actually use it.
Okay, checking. The seat lifting issue you described is a known feature, and you're right, you need to make sure you separate them and that the lid is down properly. Integrity Houston, the answer on the tape on the tool along there, so let's please leave it that way.
Okay, we copy. Thanks for checking.
You bet.
And we did just hear communications from on the ground Capcom Mark Reagan relaying to the crew onboard integrity that that tape that they noticed on the toilet is indeed supposed to be there. No The Integrity spacecraft with NASA astronauts Reed Wiseman, Victor Glover, and Christina Cook, as well, closing in on the 200,000 mile marker to the moon. They're currently 207,485 miles away from 1,600 miles away from planet Earth. Orion is traveling at a velocity of 7,239 miles per hour. This view of the Orion spacecraft showcasing the Orbital Maneuvering System engine, or OMS engine, which provided the burn today for the transit 50 seconds long, sending Orion and its crew on a trajectory to the moon. We can also see a view of some of the auxiliary engines, 8 in total. These engines provide trajectory corrections and can be used as a backup to the main engine if needed. Each engine can provide steering during burns by pulsing on and off. Screen, as well as behind the large orbital maneuvering system engine, we do see a portion of the power source for the European service module. This animation, you can see a better view of the Orion spacecraft as well as those 4 solar arrays. Each wing measures nearly 23 feet long and is composed of 3 panels. The wings can pivot on 2 axes to remain continuously aligned with the sun for maximum efficiency. And the arrays provide enough 3-bedroom homes, which keep the crew safe and the systems running during their journey.
a very quick stream of the HHP camera just for an object.
That was unreadable. We're trying something. Hang on a second. Integrity Houston for two-way comm check. We'll let you know.
You're looking at a live view serving as Artemis mission control. The team orbit to shift are currently being led by NASA Flight Director Paul Kanya. Serving as Capcom and next to him is Sandra Moore. We're now 1 day, 5 hours, and 34 minutes into the flight of Orion. Orion is 36,907,214 miles away from the moon. Earlier today, the translunar injection burn was completed with the large engine you're seeing. That burn was 5 minutes and 50 seconds long, sending Orion on the path to the moon. Additionally, the crew had the opportunity to test aboard the Orion spacecraft. Flywheel is an exercise device that uses a flywheel, as the name suggests,
Integrity
in a series
one with the voice check.
Integrity has you loud and clear, Houston.
Hey Reed, we were configured to do some high-speed file transfers, and it looks like maybe that squeezed out the voice range a little bit. Is what I'll repeat your call just to make sure we are on the same page.
I wanted to know, or just let me know when is a good time for us to try a quick HHP count.
Okay, we will go for that right now.
About 100% HHP camera downlink with no audio.
Okay, Reed, looks like the good news is that was a good test, and what we're seeing is a crew member exercise.
Yep, Mike was totally fine with that, but we just wanted to do the test real quick. So I'll go ahead and stop it now. We know it's got a good end work.
We did hear those communication. Board Orion. One of the crew members is utilizing the flywheel, a series of pulleys and a torque limiter encased in a frame the size of an extra-large shoebox, which functions like a rowing machine. The crew uses a strap placed between their feet, which attaches to either a bar or a harness to interact with the device. Pulling on the strap allows the crew to perform aerobic, resistive, and rowing exercises. Crew member straps their feet against the footplate of the device, and using the bar, the crew can perform exercises such as bicep curls, bent, as well as rowing for aerobic. During this mission, the crew will use the flywheel every day except launch and landing. Each astronaut will spend about 30 minutes per day performing exercises, and the teams on the ground will be gathering data the entire way to verify information about the flywheel, and this data, amongst other observations such as video of in preparation for future Artemis missions.
about the PWD when convenient.
Hey, Christina, can you give us a minute?
Of course.
Ready.
Question about that. When I first made the call and there was like we saw suspect, do you expect ping to go suspect when you're doing large or file transfers?
Yeah, Christina, push up file transfer rates. We're kind of playing with that in the background where we can get files faster, but also not impact COM and overload the buffer. I think what we've decided is we're just going to stay at the safe rate more tonight after you guys go to bed.
Makes sense. We're just trying to understand our displays, and we love the exploration on that one. The original call was about the PWD. Wanted to let you know that after doing a fill, we have been having so that when we remove the water bag after closing the valve, there's not residual water coming out of the dispenser. We've just been implementing that as a workaround to weight that node both for your awareness and also to see if there could be a workaround.
Copy the report. Let us talk about it. We'll let you know.
Thanks, Mark. And as you probably imagine, that's a low priority. We're getting by just fine as it is.
Copy that, and glad to hear it. And you certainly look like you're doing great up there.
And those communications, Cook referencing the PWD, that's the potable water dispenser, which gives the crew. It's also used to rehydrate food and drink packages. At this time, we are now 1 day, 5 hours, and 51 minutes to Orion spacecraft.
Is it just trickling and dripping, or is it more of a steady flow for a little while?
We'll take a video, but if you remove a bag after closing the valve prior to about 30 seconds, a steady stream of water continues to come out, and it might be just a little less than what the standard flow is, but it's definitely a steady stream.
Okay, copy. Thank you.
And to be fair, I've never actually seen a valve open without a bag on it, so I can't compare. But the stream is steady and maybe about 1/8 of an inch wide.
Could you give me a guess of how much?
We have someone who thinks that what it is just a line's worth of water. Maybe it's just emptying out, because we always just stick a bag back on it quickly to stop the flow and then wait longer. So don't have a strong, easy answer for you on that one.
For now. Thank you.
If you're just joining us, we're continuing to bring you live of the first crewed flight test. We're now 1 day, 5 hours, 4 test flight, over 6,900 miles per hour. As you can see on your screen there in this visualization. Following the translunar is slated to beat the Apollo 13 record of farthest distance from 200, which will be 52,021 statute miles.
Integrity Houston for Victor.
Mark, go ahead.
We would like priority on those Earth photos. The first 30 minutes after TLI that Reed was excited about, if possible. Thank you.
referencing some imagery that was taken shortly after the translunar injection burn. NASA astronaut Reed Wiseman was quite excited about the imagery of the Earth he was able to capture. So they're going to work on getting that down to the ground, and we will share with you all once we do have that available to be shared, and are looking forward to seeing it, as are you. And you're looking at a live view in the crew is continuing to step through procedures for their day following the translunar injection and 50-second long burn. At this time, NASA astronaut Christina Cook is utilizing the flywheel exercise machine on board Orion as part of her 30-day. Some of the imagery taken earlier today. The crew will continue to step through a few more procedures before they have a private daily conference.
On one for window inspection on Reed's timeline.
We're with you.
Hey Mark, is there anyone there that can tell us what the end goal is of this? Are we trying to do the interior panes or all the panes all the way through? Next to impossible to get a clean image of these windows.
Hey Reed, we're trying to just get a good characterization of all the panes and understand how clear they are before we go and do the observations through them. So understanding the overall, see any scratches or imperfections, that's of most interest, and especially if it looks like it's in the outer panes. And understand that the photos might be difficult in the lighting, and so just best effort on that if you find anything that warrants it.
Okay, sounds good. I will do my best. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Houston integrity for exercise.
Go ahead, Christina.
Feature step 8.4. This is our first time with the accelerometers configured, and it does say on MCCH go switch. Is that going to be okay?
Yes, it's going to be okay, so you have a go in hindsight.
Do you need us to get the accelerometer go every time, or is this size?
Checking. those files are basically only able to record as long as the exercise is scheduled. So the important thing here is that you turn it on right before you start, and that you also turn it off when you finish, and then we get a new file going for the next person. Remember that and understand that, then you don't have to report that every time.
Copy.
And those words to NASA astronaut Christina Cook as she wraps up her exercise for the day on the flywheel machine. The flywheel exercise device is utilized for 30 minutes each day by every crew member during this test flight.
Houston Integrity on 1 for window inspections.
With you on 1.
1 in a folder under Imagery for downlink window inspection. I'll make sure that's what it says in the procedure. I'll double check that. And then just big picture, there's just a few little blemishes here and there, a couple panes. And then there are some blemishes on the outer panes. Obviously, we're not going to be able to do it. So 1. So what we're calling window 1 is the portmost window. Look, it occurred during last Genesis, and I noticed it on the way uphill. Shouldn't be a factor for our photographs, but you'll hopefully see it in the picture. It's really hard to get a picture of it. It's very small.
Okay, Reed, copy all of that. Thank you for that report. And actually, we don't need you to downlink those. We'll get those for post-flight analysis.
Oh, that's outstanding. Okay, perfect. Thank you. Houston Integrity for...
Go ahead.
Okay, I've connected the portable speaker to Beat 1's J3. I don't think that makes a difference, but if it does, let me hooked up in J3 already, just sitting there. I'm just going to leave it connected.
J2 and J3 are functionally the same. We have one command, but thank you for letting us know where that is.
And so over to you guys to do your configuration then, and I guess the speaker will just start working.
Yeah, Jeremy. Our command is to prevent that you've plugged in the USB port for power and turned on the knob.
Okay, those are done, and it has a light on it, and the knob is full volume.
So, Jeremy, testing, are you hearing this call through?
Try one.
Testing on the portable speaker. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Okay, we're not hearing anything. Let us troubleshoot.
If there's nothing you see that's obvious, we'll go ahead and send that command as a first trouble.
Yes, please send it.
Okay, in work.
Jerem A3.
Okay, copy.
Copy it.
If you're just joining us, we are 1 day, 6 hours, and 21 minutes.
And if so, are you hearing any difference?
First question, Mark. This is on C1 umbilical, so don't we need C1 on listen?
Checking. can you verify first of all you are plugged into J3 now?
I think we resolved the issue. We just went to listen on C1, and now we hear out of both speakers.
Okay. Very good news. Thank you.
The only issue is now when we transmit, we can hear it almost real time coming out of the COT speaker.
Okay, copy that. We're talking about it. Okay, we sent another command. Does that change anything now?
We're checking. Yes, we do not hear that feedback at all.
Like magic. All right, good news.
Yeah, strongly agree. That's awesome. Thanks, Mark.
And the crew on the Orion spacecraft continuing to step through some procedures to configure audio, all working as expected now at this hour, 1 day, 6 hours and 27 minutes into the flight of the Orion spacecraft with a crew on board for the very first time. Orion is now 43,300 on the moon at a speed of 6,608 miles per hour. 101,994 miles from the moon, as you can see in this visualization of the Orion space. Beings, 3 of them NASA astronauts. That includes Commander Reed Wiseman, Pilot Victor Glover, and mission. Additionally, Canadian Space Agency astronaut Jeremy Hansen is also on board. Cook, Glover, and Wiseman have all flown to space before, but this is the first flight for Hansen.
Copy.
This is Artemis Mission Control. 1 day, 6 hours, and 43 minutes into the flight of the Orion spacecraft with crew on board for the first time. You just heard those communications from the ground. Capcom currently shift is Mark Reagan. He relayed go to continue with their next set of flywheel exercises. The flywheel is like rowing and resistant workouts, such as squats and deadlifts. It's used for about 30 minutes per day by the crew aboard the Orion spacecraft during their test flight around the moon. Worked to install accelerometers on the flywheel exercise device. Additionally, a software checkout of the flywheel completed, and everything is up and crew on board Orion today. Observations and data from the flywheel, such as video of exercise sessions, will be used to further develop the flywheel in preparation for future Artemis missions. For Wiseman, Glover, and Cook, they are no strangers to exercising in space. Worked aboard the International Space Station, where exercise is a key in working aboard the microgravity environment of the International Space Station. Crews on orbit on the space hours per day to prevent bone and muscle loss. On board the International Space Station, there are 3 ways which the crew can exercise, and a advanced resistive exercise device called ARID for lifting. Spacecraft space is obviously a hot commodity, so the flywheel exercise device crew on board Orion can use to get the exercise that they need. Coming up here shortly at about 1 a.m. Central Time, before getting some rest. The crew lightweight sleeping bags that attach to the wall. A short time ago, we did hear communications about the procedures that were being utilized to take photographs of the windows of the Orion spacecraft. This was one of several tasks on the crew's timeline today, but the largest of which and the biggest milestone for today's lunar injection burn, sending the crew on a path to the moon. At this point, the crew is now closing in on 245,814 miles away from Earth, traveling at a velocity of 6,412 miles per hour. As you can tell from this visualization on your screen, you can see the Orion spacecraft as well as the solar arrays, those 4 solar arrays which help provide power to the Orion spacecraft throughout its mission. On the backside of this animation, our maneuvering system engine, or UWMS engine, which was responsible for that translunar injection burn earlier today. Additionally, there are 8 auxiliary engines on board Orion on the bottom of the service module. These engines help provide about 100 pounds of thrust and can provide steering during burns by pulsing on and off. And here you're looking at a live view of that UWMS engine as well as the auxiliary engines. The Artemis II spacecraft, named Integrity, features over 28 cameras, including exterior, interior, and crew-operated systems for monitoring, as well as public affairs. Key positions include solar array wingtips, the crew module exterior, and multiple interior cabin cameras for recording, navigating, and live streaming crew activities during the 10 days. Back inside Artemis Mission Control, you're looking at a live view of our Capcom, or capsule communicator, that is responsible for communicating with the crew aboard a spacecraft. Capcom this evening during this Orbit 2 flight is. We also see a view of Flight Director Paul Kanya standing up. He is the flight director during today's Orbit 2 shift. There are a variety of other console positions which help monitor the Orion spacecraft and its systems, such as prop, which played a key role earlier today during the translunar injection burn, sending Orion on a course to the moon. And here you can see an overview of the room here inside of the White Flight Control Room at NASA's Johnson Space Center in Houston, otherwise known as Artemis Mission Control. Along the walls, you see a variety of different mission patches hanging up, controlled and flown out of this flight control room. A special tradition inside of Mission Control Houston is that once a mission wraps up, one individual that role during the mission is selected to hang up the flight patch on the wall. And another view recognizing crew as well as the spacecraft, ensuring everything is working as expected, as well as communicating with the crew. This room will be staffed around the clock 24/7 throughout the duration of the Artemis II mission. You're looking now at a live view inside the science evaluation room here at NASA's Johnson Space Center in Houston. This room was built specifically for the Artemis missions. And this team consists of scientists who support the crew's lunar observations, photograph, and provide video activities to evaluate data, which helps inform and plan for future lunar landing sites. When the crew flies in an area of the moon that has never been seen by human eyes before, and one of their prime objectives during that time frame is to gather as much imagery that they to make observations about the lunar surface, which they'll pass along to the science room for analysis. The SIR will provide real-time support to the main Space Center, which you're seeing a view of there on the left-hand side of your screen. Observations, imaging, and data collection. This is Artemis Mission Control. We are 1 hours and 1 minute into the historic test flight of Orion. This is Artemis Mission Control, Orion, and its crew of 4 human beings, including NASA astronaut, Space Agency astronaut Jeremy Hansen, are on their way to the moon following the translunar injection burn that occurred earlier today. That burn lasting 5 minutes and 50 crew inside Integrity on a trajectory to the moon and back. Integrity away from the moon. The distance between Integrity and Earth continuing to grow at this hour, now 47,770 miles away from Earth. We are 1 day, 7 hours, and 9 craft around the moon to test out key systems on board the Orion spacecraft. As we've mentioned, the as well as Canadian Space Agency astronaut Jeremy Hansen. Wiseman was selected as a NASA astronaut in 2009 and is the Artemis II commander. This is Wiseman's second trip into space. He's previously served as a flight engineer aboard the International Space Station for Expedition 41